If you're suffering with an L4 or L5 disc bulge, this video is going to share with you some great exercises you can begin to create stability in your spine and strengthen around that damaged tissue. My name's Dr. Matt Pennetti, and I'm a neurostructural chiropractor in Centennial, Colorado. I see a lot of people who have been diagnosed with disc bulges. Many of them are office workers who spend much of their time at a desk or at a computer screen, but also continue to work out at a pretty high level. And when we go from a very static position to a really extreme position, like an Olympic style sport or workout, F45, Orange Theory, CrossFit, not that those things are bad necessarily, but they do put a lot of strain on the spine. When we have a lifestyle that promotes static and then we jump into something that's extremely intense, like those workouts, it oftentimes predisposes us to disc bulges. Also, when we flex our bodies forward and rotate, which happens in a lot of these different workouts, and I'm going to talk about 3 of the biggest exercises where we see this happen, those promote disc bulges. They create disc shearing, and that oftentimes leads to a disc pushing out further than it was supposed to go. So in this video, I'm going to go through my 3 favorite exercises that are going to help you stabilize around that disc bulge and hopefully promote health and longevity going forward, while also reducing the risk of re-injury or potentially creating a herniation or something worse with the disc in your lower back. If you find the information and the content that we're providing valuable, please subscribe to our channel and like the content. Also, if you have questions or you want to have some other content made around these kinds of topics, let us know. Go below the video and comment below and let us know what you're looking for. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there's a couple exercises that we see disc bulges happening quite a bit more often than any other exercise. One of the biggest is sit-ups and Russian twists, or any kind of motion where we're flexed forward and rotated, which pushes the discs out and eventually leads to some sort of a disc bulge through shearing force. So what I'm going to teach you today is a curl up, which is a rather intense exercise when done properly. When doing this exercise, you shouldn't feel pain. Abdominal fatigue is common, but you should not feel back pain. If you do, chances are that you should not be performing this exercise because you are simply not ready. So to perform this exercise, you lie on your back with one leg bent. You take your hands and put them firmly under the small of your lower back. From here, press your elbows up off the ground so they're not supporting you there. Tuck your chin, lift your chin and shoulders off the ground. Now, as I'm doing this, my body is shaking because it is an intense motion. I'm trying to keep my neck pulled back. In other words, I don't want my neck way out in front like that. I want it pulled back, engaging, but trying to keep my spine in a neutral position. We're holding that position for 8 to 10 seconds, and then we're gonna repeat it. And you can repeat it 5 to 10 times in terms of sets. I would recommend you switch the leg that you've got straight out, bend one knee. Once you've done that set, time for the next set, switch and do the other side. I give yourself 30 seconds to a minute break in between. And like I said, you should be fatiguing abdominally. If you feel any lower back pain, again, that exercise probably isn't ready for you yet. The second exercise is a side plank. Side planks are amazing to help stabilize around the spine. In order to do this though, we want to make sure that our spine stays in a pretty neutral position. If you cannot do the side plank, I will give you a different way of doing it in just a second that makes it a little bit easier. I'm in socks, which probably wasn't the best strategy on my end, but what I'm gonna have to do is one arm's bracing down. We're gonna lift the hips up off the ground like so. Get my arm in a good position. Okay, I'm gonna keep my other hand just over top of my shoulder. I'm trying to make sure that my hips don't sag down. Okay, hips are in a good position. We're keeping our hips straight up towards the ceiling. I don't want rotating this way or rotating that way. That's cheating. And again, we're keeping the hips up off the ground. We're gonna hold that position typically for 30 seconds. If you can go longer, great. If you can go shorter, or you can only go shorter, then do what you're comfortable with, at least to start. At max 5 sets of that hold. Again, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, whatever you're comfortable with. If you're not comfortable with the exercise I just demonstrated, getting the knees completely off the ground, we can keep the knees on the ground like that, but we're gonna lift the hip up like so. Again, try not to rotate too much. Again, holding that position, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, whatever you feel comfortable. That would be a great alternative if it's just too difficult to do it with the entire body lifted off the ground. That's the side plank, and that's the second stability and strengthening exercise. Now, it should go without saying, but I think I'm gonna say it anyway. If you're noticing, again, back pain, stop. If you're noticing numbness and tingling pickup, stop. We shouldn't experience any of those symptoms magnifying while doing these exercises. Now, the last exercise is one of my favorites. It's called the bird dog. And what we're gonna do here is we're going to keep our back and spine in tabletop position, and we're going to lift one arm and the opposite leg behind us, trying to keep our spine in a pretty neutral and straight position, and then come back. You can either repeat that side like I am, or you can switch and go the other way. I would encourage you to hold this position for 2 to 5 seconds once you're there. Try not to rotate your hips off the ground. Try to keep your leg and arm in good position. To help you with this, if you imagine you're driving your leg straight out as far as you can and also bringing your arms straight out, while at the same time pulling your head up towards the ceiling, that should help stabilize your posture and make sure you're getting the most out of that exercise. If you're attempting at least 10 to 20 reps on each side while holding for 2 to 5 seconds, I think that's a great place for someone to be who's trying to improve and rehab from a disc injury to L4 and L5. When it comes to L4 and L5 disc issues, every one of them is different. They're all their own individual issue. And while these exercises are amazing tools to help stabilize and in certain situations rehabilitate those injuries, it's not the only thing, and sometimes it may not improve the issue underneath the surface. The reason a disc bulges in the first place is it's essentially jelly, like jelly inside a donut would be. You've got two ends, and as those ends change position, if they come closer together on one side, the jelly or the disc will bulge out on the other. And so if we do see a disc bulge, like I said, a lot of times it's from flexion and rotation. But at the same time, there's usually some structural abnormality, either above or below, or both, where that disc is happening. And so if we don't do anything to stabilize the structure above and below, we can do rehabilitative exercises like this, but the potential for re-injury or for some other issues to show up in the future is much more likely. So I would always encourage anyone who has suffered an L4, L5 disc issue or has noticed pain and discomfort in their lower back to not only address the soft tissue and strengthen the muscles and stabilize around that area, but also consider the structure of the spine and potentially the nervous system inside. I hope you found this video valuable. And again, if you like what we shared, please subscribe to our channel, like the video, and then comment below with anything you'd like to see in the next videos, or if you've got questions about this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.